Hello, everyone. I'm so excited to be here with you guys. I'm here with the wonderful, beautiful Peggy M Denson, and she's going to be my first guest. Yay! For our May month. You know, May is Women's Month, so we're celebrating women, and I wanted to celebrate awesome Black woman magic. I know they say Black girl magic, but these are full-grown women. Okay, doing full-grown women boss things, and I wanted to definitely interview them and let them tell their stories. I know a lot of it is going to be inspiring. Last month, April, was more of a sabbatical month for me, so you didn't see any interviews. So sorry, but well, May and June, we got some great interviews coming up. After June, we take a break until September again. So I'm excited. I hope you guys are excited to come and be with me to see these wonderful Black women tell their stories. So welcome to the show, Peggy.
Thank you for having me.
Yes.
I'm so excited to be here.
Yes, I feel blessed to have met you because we connected like immediately through my cousin Kalila. We did a judge contest for the entrepreneurial coach program that she does.
Yes.
And it was just awesome. We almost had the same comments, actually.
We did. Yeah. We were trying to alternate so we wouldn't sound like we were talking and saying the same thing over again.
Yes, exactly. Awesome program. If you haven't heard about it, my cousin Kalila Webster does an awesome entrepreneurial program for women.
Yes.
Many of them are women of color. So shout out to you, Kalila, for all the great work that you're doing.
Yes, she's really phenomenal. She's awesome. And one thing that I love about her, she's not afraid of connecting women together. You know how sometimes be in the business world, right? Like,
girl, we're gonna talk about that.
I'm not exposing you to. She's like, no, here, love, connect. So shout out to her.
God, I just gotta jump on that point since you said that before we talk about what you do. Okay. I just want to say that it's been so frustrating to me. I think even most of my career and even my PhD program that I've been in, I see that a lot of women of color, especially, I don't know if they're overworked, tired, they do not want to give that sharing of information. And there's so few that don't mind. Like me, I want everybody to meet who they can meet. I'm not worried about position or status or anything. And I think that's a sad thing when we get to a certain level that we are unwilling to share or give what we have.
Yeah, absolutely. I agree. And I think sometimes it's because of two things. Either you're just plain on ignorant, right?
Yes.
Or secondly, you understand like the law and the nature of business, like business begets business, right?
Yes.
So,
yes.
When my sister is winning, I'm winning, right? Because there's a place for us to connect and perhaps, work together or refer other people together. So
yes. I've always been encourager. Like my sisters, my friends got services. I'm referring them out as soon as I can. You know what I'm saying? Even if they're doing the same thing I'm doing, because we're not in competition with each other.
Say that again.
Yes, even we doing the same thing, we are not in competition. This is my girl. She does this. Hey, she good like me.
Let me tell you something. I have dealt with that, and I've always told people that, especially with women, there's no such thing as competing. We don't compete, we complete each other. Ooh, right? And that is important because it's hard enough to be a Black woman, right? And then to start your own, to have the courage to start your own business, right?
Yes.
So it's so important for us to continue to uplift each other and to know that there is nothing new under the sun. I'm sure what we're doing has been done before.
Yes.
And it's okay because we are individuals, and that's what makes us and our business unique.
Yeah, I love that. I want to talk about your business, right? You're the co-founder of PMD Consulting Services, right? Is that
yes.
Advanced Consulting Services. And tell us what you do and what you offer. I love it.
Yeah, absolutely. PMD Advanced Consulting, we are a certified minority business-owned company. I do business with my husband. He is the other co-founder. Yes.
There you go, the husband and wife. We're going to talk about that too. Yes.
Which is really amazing. And sometimes people think that it cannot be done. And it can be done. I think a lot of patience and understanding and having the same goal and objective is to make sure that there is a transfer of financial wealth that's happening, makes it easier for us. But we provide a full range of services to city and private sectors and non-for-profit organizations.
Yeah.
We provide training and exercise.
That's
We do
great.
HR, sales, operations,
I
right?
love it.
And it's important because a lot of time in business, right, people may have a special niche and know how to do something in the front, but there's a lot of back end things that needs to be in order. So we as consultants make sure that you're not only looking good in the front end, but you know how your money is being
Yes, how your money is coming, right? Yes.
And what
That's
we've come
important.
to understand is that when you're free to focus on what counts, right, your business thrives. And that's why we want to make sure that people are able to focus on that. Their minds are free so that they can make money. And then we just run the back house of things for them.
I love that. That is so neat because a lot of people, entrepreneurship is not for everybody. Let me just say that, right? And it's not easy, right?
No,
I mean, it takes a lot of work. So when you have somebody that you can hire to help you run the back office, that means everything. I want to just jump on a couple of things. You said you and your husband co-founded this business together.
Yes.
That reminds me of Kalila too, because her and her husband do a lot
yes.
of together, right? And I know some other great couples that work together. And so I know it can work. But tell me about the cons and pros of it. I know there's times that you're like, honey, we are not talking business today, right? Because that would be my thing. Where's my personal time?
Yes. Okay. So that's a really good question, right?
Mm-hmm.
You're not gonna let me have me sleep not in my bed tonight. So I'm gonna start with the pros first before I start.
Yes, please.
I think one of the pros for me is the fact that I get to work with the person that I love every day, right? Mm-hmm. That's really cool. And because we're not the traditional, having to be in the office all the time, we're able to connect and brainstorm very easily. The communication is really key and important. So things that would take maybe perhaps another team, maybe 3 days or 2 days to follow up with, because we also follow up with every pillow talk with what's going on with the business as well. We're able to stay on top of that. And I think also we're able to provide a support to one another. We are able to relate to one another because we understand what one another is going through. So I think that's really healthy. And it actually has brought us together, believe it or not. And
right. I love that.
Yeah, I really find it as a blessing. Now, what are
when I get married, that's what I want to do. I want to work with my husband on some small business stuff. I would love that. Yeah.
I think everybody should try at least.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
If it's not for you, then that's okay too.
Right.
At the end of the day, we're all bringing home the bacon and we're eating it together. So
that's right. That's the good thing. And you to feel good together. Like, we did this together, baby. Look at us. We're building our legacy. I love it.
Yeah, it's really dope. I think one of the cons is also that you're around each other all the time.
Yeah.
And sometimes, you might just need, your space because let's face it, when you're in a marriage, you could be arguing about something personal, right?
Yes.
And I have to work with you. So I need to make sure that I know the difference between catching an attitude with you, when we home, but at work, we got to be on it together, friendly, and, displaying a level of professionalism, right? Because, most people know that we are married. So we want to make sure that we never reflect what's happening in
personally,
our relationship. And trust me, marriage is beautiful, but it's not perfect.
Okay? Of course. I was married, so I know.
Yes,
it's work. It's real work.
It definitely is.
I will say though, that I listened to an interview with Joe Scarborough, and Mika, who got married, right? Mm-hmm. And they said that working together helped them really stay together because there were times that they were mad at each other, but they had to go to work together. Yeah. So they kind of was forced to get over it, or something happened on business and it kind of snapped them out of the whole, we're upset at each other personally.
Yes.
So that kind of helps.
One thing I would say also, now that we're talking about it, I think also a lot of times, different marriages work differently, right? But
Yes.
in regards to finances, we
Yes.
know how much money is being brought in. There's nothing hidden, right?
Yeah.
So because of that, also it keeps everything healthy because we know what's happening,
I
right?
love
We
that.
know
Yeah.
our
I love
finances.
that. Right. So no surprises, right? Like,
Yes.
right.
Well, there's no secret bank account somewhere because
Right.
we know it all together.
Together. Yes. I don't know. I think I like the secret bank account though.
Just
No,
in case.
just in case, you never know. Yes, I love that. Okay, I love that that you work with your husband. Yes, I want to talk about your entrepreneurship journey as a Black woman, right? Because I know that these days we're always pushing entrepreneurship, but I know that some people that could not run a business. Everybody's not meant to be Indian chief leaders, right?
True.
Some people are meant to be worker bees, right?
Yeah.
And so I think that sometimes that gets lost, right? That we push entrepreneurship for
Yes.
people who are not even meant for it. So what made you know that you were, this was your calling to be an entrepreneur? And what advice would you give entrepreneurs
Yeah.
who
You
are
have some.
thinking about it, who are
Yeah.
still early stages? Yeah.
I mean, you have some great questions, right? And one thing I will say is that I've always wanted to run my own business and have my own business. And I think especially having parents that come from the Caribbean,
Yeah.
right? Families, they own property, they owned land,
Hmm.
right? My father by profession was a mechanic, so and my mother, she was really good with buying property
Wow.
buying land and buying property and sell it. So I think they were their own entrepreneurs in their own way. They just didn't have
Yes.
the
Yes.
LLC, right?
Right.
And so I had great examples of what having access to money and being able to produce money
Hmm.
alongside of your own job, the 9 to 5 that they had. But I think one of the things that really pushed me to want to start a business with my husband really was white corporate America and
Hmm.
the constant lack of being looked past for promotion.
No seat at the table.
There was no seat at the table.
Hmm.
And I think a lot of times we experience these
Oh my
aggressions,
gosh, I know.
right?
Yes.
And we deal with people that we've trained and they
They
go
get
past you, they
promotions.
get promotions, and the only thing that you're seeing is that their color of their skin is different. And this is just my
Right.
experience.
No,
That doesn't.
mine too. Mine too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I just got sick of it. I got tired of it, and I said, I'm capable of doing
Hmm.
this. Why not? And my husband, who has been a serial entrepreneur, he
Yeah.
was always encouraging me, to say, let's just, start the business. And eventually, after working in corporate America for 15 plus years, I was
Yeah.
like, you know what, baby, I'm going to take you up on this offer.
Yeah.
Let's do it. So for
Yeah.
me, those were the things that really said, you know, why not me? I'm
Hmm.
capable, and I'm being overlooked a lot, and I see that this pattern is not changing. And by the time I get the promotion that I'm going to get, I'm going to be 80 years old, right?
Yes. Yes.
So why not start? And that was really one of the two main reasons that we started the business. But while starting the business, I discovered so many women when I was talking to them that they just didn't have the courage, right, to start, or they didn't know how to start, right? Lack of resource and education.
Hmm. Hmm.
And that really made me also want to not only start my business, but also empower women to
Hmm.
also start their business, right? Because we don't compete, we are completing each other. And what
Yeah.
I realized was You know, when we create an ecosystem of entrepreneurs, then our community becomes healthy because there's
Mm-hmm.
financial wealth that's transferred.
Oh, I love that. Oh my God, that's so deep what you just said. And I agree with you. I mean, most of the time it's what we feel inside our own confidence that stops us, right, from
Yes.
achieving that goal. Like people out there, I looked at one thing that really inspired me was the Kanye, the whole documentary about Kanye, the trilogy. And no matter what you think about him, he had the confidence to know he was going to be
Yes.
somebody from the beginning, and he
Absolutely.
manifested what he felt about himself.
Yes.
And so that whole documentary just spoke volumes to me about my own manifestation, about my
Yes.
own ability to do things, right? And so I hope that many of us look at that and be like, listen, we can do whatever we put our mind to for real. And we really believe it.
Well, you are amazing. I mean, just, you know, reading your bio,
Oh,
you
thank
are
you.
author, a speaker,
Thank
you've
you.
done so many things and you've conquered so many things. It's just amazing to be around, you know, women who are saying, despite what
Yes.
I have gone through, I'm
Yes.
still going to succeed and thrive.
Yes. We got to do it. And I will just say too, that I appreciate that, but I give glory to God because
Yes.
and my parents and people who are my tribe who really push me to that level, and I think that makes a difference, right? Who we have around us, right? Who's our community? Who's speaking in our ear? Who's the person uplifting us? Because so many people, I even wrote about this one time. So many women I've come across in my path, no matter what the class system was or what color they were, if they didn't have have people around them that encouraged them and told them they could do it, they just were stuck,
That is,
in a place. And so I want to talk about your background too, because
yes.
I know you say you're from the Caribbean, and I
Yes.
love my Caribbean sisters. I'm an African American, so I don't have Caribbean descent. But I
Got it.
often, in my dissertation, I write about African Americans, and then I also do some research on some from the African diaspora, such as the Caribbean. And I have such an admiration for Caribbean because one thing I know, for most, now it's never all, right?
Yes.
Because we're not a monolith, right?
Yes.
But I will say that a lot of my African American brothers and sisters from the Caribbean or have Caribbean parents, they really push their kids. I mean, they don't play, right? I
Yes.
was raised in New York, that, like they were like, you gonna be something, okay? You are not gonna embarrass me, okay?
Yes.
Like the Africans, they don't
Yes.
play. You come to America, you better make something out of yourself, okay? How is that?
Absolutely.
How is your experience, and what
Yes.
effect did that have
That's
you
true.
growing up?
Well, I'm Haitian. I was
Yes,
born in Brooklyn, right?
yes,
But when you see me, you see somebody that's rich in culture that comes from somewhere else, right?
yes,
And
yes.
I've always had that experience, and I've always had people bring that up to me, right? So even
Hmm.
though when I would tell people I was born in Brookdale Hospital, they
Yes,
were so shocked. They were like, "What? What?
yes,
Know what part of Africa you from?" And I'm like, honestly, I don't know what part of Africa I am from,
right,
but I'm fitting to find out eventually,
right,
right?
exactly.
But growing up with parents that came to New York, right?
Hmm.
And they worked hard, right? And
Yes.
they were able to ascertain homes and provide a life for us that was good and healthy, really made me value and understand that it was really a privilege for me to be a first generation
Hmm.
coming from my parents coming from Haiti. And what that looked like was, of course, you know, most Caribbean families, they always want you to be something in the medical field,
Oh
right?
my
So
God, that's so true.
if you're not a doctor,
Right, you're in trouble,
if you're
right?
not an
Yes,
engineer, you know, that's just across, you know, all the lines, right?
right.
So growing up, I always wanted to become a pediatrician, right? And then when you grow up, like, okay, you know, things are changing, and you know, my desires change. You know, my parents just made sure that I understood the value of money. I understood that nothing was going to be
Hmm.
given to me. I
Yes.
understood from my parents that they worked hard, And because of that, I had to work hard to ensure that I had to take care of myself. And I don't know about you, but I have parents that are like, listen, you got to take care of me when you get older. So you got to make sure you make enough money for yourself.
That's right. I ain't mad at them. I'm
Me.
not mad at them. Okay.
So it was always something that was always spoken, and not to go off subject, but even with the relationship with money, right?
Yes.
Growing up, where we learned to be in susus,
oh my gosh, yes.
just to ascertain wealth, and to keep it, because that was just
part
a
of the
system,
culture.
right?
Yeah.
A part of the culture that we were taught, how to save. But I think also, even though my parents did implement, work hard, study hard, things should not be easy, and remember, things are not going to be given to you, and remember that you are a Black woman, that at the time, I was a Black little girl, so you were going to have to work harder. That was definitely something that was always emphasized.
Yeah.
And because of that, I think there was a lot of pressure for me to be like just perfect and excellent.
Yeah.
And by nature, I'm just really more of a natural, laid back person.
Yes.
So it was just like,
okay, give me a breathing room, right? I get it. I understand. I have a lot of exposure to the Haitian culture because my ex-husband was Haitian, but one thing that I admire about his mom is that she worked. I mean, she did susus. She put all 4 of her children through private school, working at the hotels, working hard, labor by herself, basically, with her father. Their grandfather kind of helped out, but it was like her really just really wanting the best for her children. And I really saw, the way she would work and come home tired and cook those dishes and stuff. I miss the food, matter of fact.
And Haitian food takes forever to cook.
It takes forever, and every little thing had to be perfect. And I'd be like, oh my God, it was a different. We kind of had a little culture clash because American, whatever. But I admired what she did for her children and the way that she really wanted them to have generational wealth and succeed in life. And so that was so important to me. So I totally understand that, and that's why I brought that up, because I think that you can see a lot, especially in a lot of the Caribbean cultures, where parents have paved the way, right, through their hard work and their labor, for you to be successful. And I'm not saying that that's not true in African American culture, but it's been a lot of times so far detached from us, right?
Yes.
Especially in my generation, right? My mother's generation, it was up close, right? She knew my grandmother worked for every dollar, but my generation and further along, my kids, please, they think life is easy,
Money grows on trees, right?
Yes, like, okay, $50, that's it. I'm like, what? I remember when I was asking for $1 and I thought that was a lot of money.
I remember when 50 cents was a big deal, when we could buy a bag of chips and a quart of water.
Thank you. So these kids are totally removed from like the sacrifices and even the history, right? That it takes to us to get we got. I want to talk about colorism a little bit. We talked about that and before we got on air, but I was telling you that my mom is a dark-skinned, beautiful woman from the South with dimples, and I always, oh my God, I thought my mom was the most prettiest woman I ever saw in my life, right? And I didn't even, never really experienced too much colorism, until, I got older, right? And I went to school and I realized back in the day when I was in New York City growing up, light skin was in.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Remember, light skin was it, right?
It's not anymore, but definitely back then it was.
Right. It's not anymore. Right. Dark skin is in now. Right. Okay. But light skin was the thing back then, right? And it was, you were treated differently, even historically, right? If you look at the African American history, if you were light skinned. And so I do empathize with the, sometimes with our dark-skinned women go through and have to push even harder to achieve success in society. What were your experiences with that, and how did you feel about that, overcome that? Do you have any things you can share with us about that?
Yeah, absolutely. I think I've experienced, the discussion of my skin tone in negative ways ever since I was in the house. Like, and, of course, I'm not saying that my family members are monsters or anything, but I think
Yeah.
we've been colonized, that
Ah.
mindset, of, oh, don't let her stay in the sun. She's already dark already. And me not understanding what
Yes.
that means, or here's a soap, and that soap was something to lighten your skin, right? To
Yeah.
make sure that I was more appealing to people. And all my brothers, I have 4 brothers growing up, so they're going to be evil.
Yes.
And it's like they would just give me all types of names and call me all types of names.
God.
And it was it wasn't too hard for me because I had a mother who I truly thank God. My mother would always tell me how beautiful I was, how special I was, and that this is why God made me so pure. And she would just say the nicest things. So between my brothers taunting me and my mother telling me I was beautiful, I grew up with some confidence, right? But then experiencing in high school, right? The whole light skin era, right? And being told that I was too dark, and that started affecting my emotions and my confidence, right? So what I did was I turned into fashion. I used to love to get dressed up and just wear nice stuff, and I think maybe subconsciously I was trying to put the attention away from my skin tone, right? So I said, if I dress nice enough, maybe they won't notice how dark I am.
Yeah.
And that was hard, right?
That is hard. Yeah. Yeah.
People, feeling rejected.
And my mom tells me often stories about her being the dark skin in the South and how they'd be like, oh, that black girl. And then I have instances with some of my African friends tell me how they went to school. People used to call them African booty scratcher and dark skin and things.
Tar baby. You got raped by the sun.
Yeah. And they don't even know it's so beautiful, right?
Yes.
I want to say, when did you start to? I know you said your mom really helped you in experiencing pride for yourself, and I think that's important, right? Because it is about our circle, who's around us, that really helps us feel better about ourselves, right, and to make us feel like we're beautiful. But when did you begin to really have that confidence? Like, yeah.
I think for me, honestly, it's when I really started building a relationship with God.
Yes.
For me, the scripture said that I was wonderfully and fearfully made of the Lord.
Yes.
And, for me to love God was to really, take a look at his work. I was his work.
I love it.
And I couldn't call his work ugly. I couldn't call his work not beautiful. So just, understanding, the word of God and having a deeper relationship with God really made me realize how beautiful, how special, how unique I was.
Yes.
And I think from there, could nobody ever tell me anything different?
Yes.
I think skyrocketed, knowing that no matter what nobody said, I had a confidence within me that could nobody steal from. That didn't mean that people didn't come and say some nasty things to me.
Right.
But it didn't matter, because even when my self-esteem would fall, I would just remind myself of the word of God. And I said, well, whose voice will I listen to? Whose word is above my life? And I would always choose God.
Oh, I love it. Yes, you right up my alley, girl. I will say that, yes.
Yeah.
So. I will say that because for me, it took me, I went through a divorce and, some other things in my life. So for a while, even though, I've always been beautiful, you're gorgeous, I've always never had been without a boyfriend for too long, I had all the confidence cues, out there, but it was confidence, lack of confidence and self-esteem in myself. Right. And so I think that, with you, especially when you go through things in life that can shake you. It can shake your self-worth. It can shake your identity. And so
Yeah,
that's why the word of God is so important to me also, because that's the solid rock which we stand,
absolutely.
right? So when God declares something and he says that we are wonderfully and fearfully made, that's it. That's the word. Okay. I wish
Period.
you would say something. Period.
Period.
Yes. Okay. I love it. Yes. With my big forehead and all. I was telling this story how I was so insecure about my forehead, right? Because
Why?
I don't know. I just thought, and then I thought about it because I'm a college professor. I did the research.
Yes.
People used to shave their foreheads back to have big foreheads because it was a sign of royalty and intelligence. So
Yes.
I wish someone would say something
Come
about my big
on.
forehead now. Yeah, he had to give me a big forehead because he knew that I was royal and very smart and intelligent. Okay, thank you. Thank you. Yes,
I love it.
but I want to just talk about times in your life that shook your confidence, that maybe some epiphanies that you went through, and just tell us about that and how you were able to overcome, because we know that there's behind every great woman there's a story.
Yes. I think for me, I went through some traumatic experiences, and I think one of the traumatic experiences was that I was there when 9/11 happened.
Yeah,
And let me tell you something, honey. If you didn't know God, you were going to know him at that time.
yeah,
And,
yeah.
it happened, like a normal day, you know,
Yes, I remember 9/11 because I was
work.
in New York. Jesus.
Okay.
When I
And
think about it, I get teary eyed because it's so.
yeah,
Yeah,
just to think about all the lives that were lost,
yeah.
right? And all the people who had to deal with the memory and the trauma of experiencing that. And I think for me, those moments were hard because I think it opened up anxiety for me.
Mhm.
And in the Black community, we don't talk about
No.
mental health. We don't talk about those things.
Yes, we
But
are starting to now, though.
yeah,
Thank
now,
God.
now
Yes,
after COVID, it's like,
yes,
listen, it's second nature, and
yes,
that's an awesome thing. But back then, when it was happening, it
yeah.
was very, it was just very, just like, okay, let's not talk about it. You're okay. You're fine.
Mhm,
Don't
mhm.
worry about it. And I remember trying to just really express that, and really not finding my voice, and really becoming just very anxious,
Mhm,
just
mhm,
becoming very fearful of buildings that were going to fall down. And by right,
mhm.
after experiencing that, why wouldn't anybody feel like that? But I think what happened was when my father died, some odd years later, I think what was dormant
Mhm.
kind of just came
To the life.
surface.
Yeah.
And you know, when you're juggling a lot of things, right? You're
Mhm,
juggling, being a business owner, being a wife.
mhm.
My husband and I, we have a ministry called Feed the Fire. So,
Yes.
you're constantly pouring into people, but then you in yourself are struggling,
Yeah.
right? With
Yeah.
this thing.
Who do
And
you go to, right? But God, right? Sometimes you
right,
gotta
you
turn.
go to God, but I think a lot of times
Yeah.
people, especially as believers, sometimes you think, oh, you could just pray it away. And you
Mm-mm.
don't have to pray it away. You can pray, yes, but you can also get some help.
Yes. Yes.
Right? Therapy is important, and
It is.
psychology is in the Bible, right?
It is.
Says in the
Yes.
word of God, before Jesus raised Lazarus from the dead, it says, and Jesus wept. That goes to show us that we need to take time out to experience what grief
Mm.
does to someone, right?
Good. That's
Take the
good.
time to process it and then move forward. But what I'm saying is that when I was forced to deal with, or to be in all these different roles and still have to deal with the anxiety, I realized that it was important for me to get some help. So I went to a grief counselor, right?
Mm-hmm.
It was the death of my a parent, um, and I was able to overcome the anxiety, and I'm just so grateful,
Amen.
because it's important for us to share, because a
Yeah.
lot of people, leaders, right, or people that at the
Yes.
forefront, they be like, oh no, I'm good, nothing's wrong with me, I'm here to help everybody. The devil is
Is
a
a liar.
liar.
Yes.
I'm okay. I am still who I am. I'm called to be, and I'm in my purpose. But I acknowledge that I did go through a traumatic time, and my father passing was very traumatic for me.
Yeah.
And it really brought something up in me that I didn't know how to deal with and cope with, and
Mhm.
that I needed some additional help.
That's so good. I love that because I think at this time it's so timely because this moment when we're dealing with a pandemic, there are so many people that lost friends and family
Yes.
members. And even now, it seems I don't know if you feel like this, but I just was talking to my girlfriend. I said, I feel like a death angel just came through the
Hmm.
earth realm and
Yes.
was like, okay. I mean,
Yes.
people who are not dying from COVID are dying early. We were just talking to a friend about that, dying 50 years old from heart
Yes.
attack and
So
things like this.
young.
Young, 50 years young, 56, and I'm just like, God, what's going on? Right. So I think that we do need to see that we all need her. Listen, personally, I see a therapist. Okay. I call my therapist and she will come see me anytime. I've been seeing her for over 4 years now. Now stop. Okay, sometimes I stop, for six
Yeah.
months and then go back and check in and stuff. But it has helped me with so many of my issues that lie dormant, right?
Yes.
Until things come up. And that's
Yes.
what happens, right? Things lie dormant. And then we have these things that happen. And then we're like, oh my God, I have this anxiety. I have this depression. Where did this come from? Right. And so then we're dealing with a number of things. So I love that story. I think it's so important that people, especially people of color who have
Yes.
normally been taught to just hide our pain and we're strong. We can do it. Don't worry about it. Pray it away. And sometimes it's just not that easy. We've been seeing pastors and leaders commit suicide at
Yes.
a staggering rate. So don't fool yourself. Get help when you need it.
And I think also what it is that people don't realize that, therapy is also a form of healing,
Yeah.
that's being provided. And I think once we come to understand that, you know, just like getting a physical done is important, getting, a check-in up here is just as important as well. It's a part of you. So
Yeah, that's so good. So good. And I'm so sorry about your dad's death. I can't. I'm
listen, I'm
sorry.
healed from that,
Yeah.
and I could definitely talk about it,
Yeah.
no breakdown.
Yeah.
But I think it's important. And I think whenever I have the platform to share, I think it's important that
Yeah.
people understand that no matter where you are in your life, no matter what position you hold in, life can get to you. And it's important that you understand what you need in order to help heal yourself,
Ooh,
right?
I love it. Yes. Heal yourself. Help. Get the tools you need, resources to help. There's resources out here to help heal yourself. Yes. Yes.
So I always encourage, and I know that when it comes to women, women take on a lot, you
Mhm.
know, especially being mothers,
Mhm.
business owners, and every other hat that we carry, sister, daughter,
Mhm.
wife, all these things. That's a lot for just anybody. So I think it's important that we just make sure that we promote mental health is
Mhm.
just as important as getting a physical checkup. And I'm just going to encourage you, everyone here now that's
Yes.
listening, don't be embarrassed. Make
That's
sure
right.
that you get the help that you need, and get it sooner than later.
All right. I love that. That was great. I want to talk to you about one last thing. I know it's probably like,
Yes.
oh,
I'm
I can't
enjoying
wait.
myself with you, by the way.
Yes. Yes. But let me tell you, I want to talk about marriage. You have been in a
Yes.
marriage for how long now?
I have been married going on 4 years, actually.
Yay.
So I can't believe it.
Yes. Still honeymooning. Now, how long did you guys date before you got married?
You know what? We dated, I want to say, was it a year? I don't even think it was a year. Listen,
Girl, nobody should wait longer than a year. Okay. Don't let me get started. All right. You wait longer than a year, you's a fool.
listen, honey,
Okay.
I kissed
Especially,
plenty of frogs before
yes.
this one came in my life.
Oh,
Okay.
I understand. Look, been there, done that.
Yeah.
Okay, got it. Yes.
Yeah, but I think we started talking in May,
Mm-hmm.
and by July, he was already talking about, like, hey, you see your
Because
life
when
with
they
me?
know, they know. Okay,
Right?
that is the key, girl. When they know, they
Yes.
know. I love it. Nobody
Yeah.
gotta wait 10 years for them to decide to put a
Come
ring on it.
on.
Stop it.
Yeah. So it was really good. I think we did manage to spend almost 4 seasons with each other.
Yes.
And then he proposed.
Oh, I love it.
Yeah, it wasn't long at all.
Right.
And it was a surprise, but we talked about it, and my husband made his intentions very clear, which I never experienced to that degree in a relationship. Because you know how
Yeah.
sometimes with women,
Yeah.
oh, do we like the person more? Or
Yes.
what's going on?
Yes.
You know, where we're going, what direction we're moving in. And with him, I knew when he liked me. I knew when he loved me. I knew when he was ready to get married to me.
I love it. That is you know what? That is the clarity, intensity that needs to happen in dating. Okay. I'm putting that needs to happen. Nobody needs this the whole thing of does he like me? Does he not? Is for the birds.
Exhausting. It's emotionally exhausting.
Yes.
So just to be with somebody who could clearly direct me on
he had clear
he wanted.
Yes.
I was like, this is half the battle.
Yes, all I have to clear intentions. There are some men out there that make it clear.
Come on, there's some men out here.
Yes, listen, I never ever have that. Like, you know, ever since I've been, you know, single, I believe God is going to send me a good husband. So I don't talk down about men. I don't do it. I don't let it come out my mouth because I know God is going to give me a good husband. If I want to speak it, then I got to speak like he is a great husband.
And let me tell you something. My husband was married before. Right.
Yes.
So he's divorced. And just to give transparency, right?
Yes, because of course.
You find love in different ways.
Of course, right? Yeah.
I was engaged, right?
Yeah, yeah.
You know, of course, we met each other after, you know, everything happened, right?
Yes.
But, you know, there is different ways of finding love. So, you know, how you expect for it to be.
Yes.
Different. Because, girl, let me tell you something. When I had to, you know, when I had to call off my first engagement, you know, I would have never thought in a million years that was going to happen, right?
Yes, yes.
But life happens. And
life happens.
Listen, for me, I'm okay because I feel even though, you know, I waited some time or what I feel like I waited, but I think it was well worth the wait because God allowed me to develop myself as an individual, right? And I was able to be successfully single, right?
Ah, that's good.
Yeah, so I was able to. So when we had to become one, right, or come together, you know, I already had my life. I already had my friends.
Yes, yes. You weren't searching for anything in him, right? You had your stuff settled.
Exactly.
I love that. I love that. Now, give me like some of the things that you've learned since, you know, kind of being newly married, but in the throes of marriage, right? Because you work with your husband and you probably have more time clock in your marriage than people do they've been married for 10 years because you work together, right?
Yes.
Give me some of the keys to success that you find.
The keys to success I find is forgiveness. Yes. You can't argue with your significant other for more than 3 days. That's the longest any argument should go because it's just like bread, right?
Right.
You know, 3 days, then it's done because mold start growing on it. And then that's when you really have the problems.
Ooh, so I love that mold. Yeah.
And I think it's also important. My husband and I, we go to marriage counseling and it's more of a prevention, right?
Yes.
And damage control. Because, you know, sometimes when you tell people you're going to, you know, marriage counseling, oh, girl, what's going on? I didn't know it was that bad. Like, no, baby.
No, I love that. Marriage counseling for prevention.
Yes, I am keeping my marriage healthy. Yeah. Especially when you have different roles that you have to play. It's so easy to give everyone everything and then be exhausted for each other. So those are another of the things that we do in order to make sure that we keep ourselves healthy, right, in our marriage as well.
Oh, I love that. I love that. I like that whole concept of marriage counseling for prevention. That's what I plan to do. Because you
Yes.
get set in your ways. You get a certain age and you think
Absolutely.
you're always right, and he thinks he's always right. No, let's go and let's get a nice little mediator and
Yes.
work out so we can really be one, right? And just make sure we're not going to bed mad. I think that is important too.
Absolutely. That's really,
I like the way you put it. So mold doesn't grow. I love that.
Absolutely.
Okay. Yes, that's good. That's good. I have loved to interview you today. It's been my pleasure to get to know you better, Peggy. Not only because you and my mother share the same names, I know you're fabulous, but also we wore pink and we didn't plan it. We were like pink, dark pink. It's
great minds think alike, honey.
That's right. That's right. And I mean, I love what you're doing for your community and for everything that you're into. I'm going to pray God's many blessings on you. Tell people where they can find you on social media, your website, everything.
Absolutely. So we have our website, PMD Advanced Consultants.com. So that's our business page. You can also reach us at Feed the Fire Global Ministries on Instagram and Facebook. That's the name of our ministry. And last but not least, I do have a launched non-for-profit organization where we empower women, right, to start their business. And it's at Launch Global. We are starting out, so the page is not heavy yet, but pray up because we're going to be taking off.
I love it. I love the fact that you're doing so much, not only in the community, but for women, and you're giving back. It's not enough for us to just become bosses if we don't give back and help somebody else and reach back, right? That's our responsibility, not only as people who have been blessed, but people who are Christians, and that's the real work.
Okay.
Yes. Yes.
I just want to say thank you so much for just taking the time to put me on this platform. I do not take it lightly.
Oh, yes.
Awesome. I know that you're awesome, honey. And I look forward to working with you.
Yes, we're going to do some things together.
Celebrating with you.
Yes. Yes, Peggy, we're going to stay in touch because we got to do some things together. I can't wait to come to New York. Whenever you have any Feed the Fire events, let me know. I love giving back. So,
I will. I definitely will.
Whatever you need. I love to come up there and feed the homeless. I used to do it with my girlfriend Sin, but because of pandemic, we stopped. Please let me know. Guys, thank you for tuning in today. We will see you for our next show. We have some fabulous women. Check the Facebook page, and we'll be running clips of this. So have a great May and stay empowered, everyone, and stay blessed.
Yes. Take care, guys.
Bye.